Welcome back to What It's Really Like to Be an Entrepreneur. I'm Vincent Lanci, speaker and author of the book Left for Dead, A Story of Redemption. Want to know what it's really like to be an entrepreneur? Well, you came to the right place. Whether you're already an entrepreneur, or looking to start your journey tomorrow, or just someone who needs a little extra motivation to get through the day, this is the perfect podcast for you. This is the place where you will learn exactly what it's like in the world of entrepreneurship and hear authentic stories of entrepreneurs grinding on each episode. My goal for this podcast is to help you realize that giving up is never an option. If you missed the last episode, be sure to download it after you tune in today. Before I introduce my two guests on this special father-son, president-vice president episode, I will share another entrepreneurial story to inspire you all. On this episode, I will feature the famous entrepreneur who you all know in Steve Jobs. I'm not sure if you knew, but Steve Jobs actually dropped out of college as the cost was just too expensive for his family to bear. However, he was still able to unofficially audit classes. This means that you can attend a class, but you're not able to actually receive college credit for the class. At this point, he was surviving off returning Coca-Cola bottles for change as frequently as he could, and by also getting free meals from the local Hare Krishna temple. Steve Jobs claimed he got the inspiration for the groundbreaking Mac font designs and typefaces from a calligraphy course that he actually stopped in on. It has been said that it is because of this man, Steve Jobs, that computers have more than one font and not just a standard text. To no surprise, he later formed the Apple Computer Company with his friend Steve Wozniak, a friend who he actually grew up with but was also another electronics expert. When Steve died, he had a net worth of over $8 billion. That's right, I said a B. It's safe to say he will live on forever and influence young go-getters ever more. Hey Rick, what'd you like best about that story?
I like he never gave up.
He never gave up. What about you, Austin? What was big for you?
Same. He got an education without being able to afford it. And he's one of the most influential people around right now.
Yeah, those voices you just heard are the sounds of today's guest. I have a very special episode for you all today, as it is a father and son combo who run one of the most successful security companies in New York, being chosen as best security company in the Best of LI competition 4 years in a row now for 2020. Very remarkable. I'm happy to have him on the show. They were neighbors of mine growing up, and we stayed very close over the years since school. They're going to tell you all about their stories and how they started a security company from the ground up and turned it to a name brand in the industry. I will now introduce to you the president and vice president, Rick and Austin Allen. Thanks for joining my show, guys.
Hey, great to be here, Vinny.
Thanks for having us, buddy.
Rick, why don't you first share your story, and then we'll touch on how you got up here today. Let's go through your story a little bit.
Well, back after I got out of professional wrestling, I wrestled for 15 years professional, and then I went into bodyguard work and protecting some celebrities and rock stars and stuff like that. And I saw there was a need to up the security game in New York City, and I got to work at some nightclubs and got to be hanging around with some famous people, and just started my security company back in 1999. It was called Forte Security. I started out in my basement. I had one computer. I did all the hiring. I did all the payroll. I did all the collections of money, and I worked shifts too. So it was kind of
1999 somewhere.
Lean times.
We're moving by. Austin, let's give you a little bit about you. Give a little bit about your background, and then we'll end up how you came on to join the company.
Well, I was working with my father since, 18 years old. Started at 18, worked at special events, going with him to the nightclubs and on the teen nights and seeing how things were. Then I went down to college in Florida, and it just didn't work out for me. So I saw he had a need for some extra help. I came back and started just learning the business, working in the nightclubs and seeing how we did, with the back office and the hiring and stuff like that. And now today we're real busy, and I'm involved day to day, and I have a love for it now. It's what I do for a living.
Absolutely. It's great to see a passion from a father and son. And now, guys, we're going to get into the big five. Each episode, what I do with my guests is I go over these 5 questions to help you, the listeners, all learn what it's really like to be an entrepreneur. You boys ready to go?
Ready to go.
Great. Rick, we'll start with you. When did you first realize that you weren't happy? You touched on that you were wrestling a little bit, or maybe you just needed a change to be that full-on entrepreneur, do your own thing?
Well, in wrestling or any sports, anything in sports, you only have a life expectancy between 10 and 15 years. Wrestling's a contact sport, just like football and hockey. Your knees, your back, the road's really hard on people. And, I knew when I was approaching like 35, it was really time to get out and start looking for another career. And I was blessed. I took a lot of criminal justice courses in college, and I went to the police academy in Jacksonville, Florida before I got into pro wrestling. So I always knew that I wanted to do something in law enforcement or maybe, security. And right after wrestling, I got to, bodyguard some really big name people in the entertainment world, and I got to get a taste of that, and I saw there was a need to grow, a lot of stuff in New York City, and just the caliber of guards out there wasn't up to people's standards. So not that I wasn't happy what I was doing, I was very happy wrestling, but I knew there'd be a time and a date, sooner than later, that I had to change my career. I had a family to take care of, and, if I wasn't wrestling anymore, I didn't really have a trade. So I just went back on what I knew how to do, was bouncing and working clubs and concerts and, providing protection to people and their property.
Did you start down in Florida with the security company, or you started right up here in New York City?
Well, I actually started in Florida. I used to bounce in a lot of nightclubs down in Jacksonville, Florida. Did some bodyguard work down there when I wasn't wrestling and stuff. So I got to work out with a couple of rock bands, 38 Special and Molly Hatchet down in Jacksonville, Florida, Southern rock bands.
Nice.
And I ran security at a place called Playground South and Confetti's down in Jacksonville, Florida. And after that, I moved up to New York when I was wrestling, and just left off. I went and got my security license, because in New York State you have to be a licensed security guard to work security, and I got that. In 1999, I went and I got my watch guard and patrol agency, started my own company, got incorporated as Forte Security.
There you go.
And we were Forte Security for 18 years. In 2016, we rebranded the company to American Protection Bureau. And the last 4 years, 2017, 18, 19, and 20, we won Best of Long Island for Security Guard Company.
Absolutely.
So I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, Austin, how about you? You mentioned you went out to college and you started getting involved in the family business. Maybe describe that turning point for our listeners. When did you realize, I'm going into the entrepreneurial route with my old man?
When things weren't just working out down there, I called my dad, and, he said, whenever you're ready, come back, and I got a spot for you here. And then he gave me a chance, and I just ran with it. And we've been working well together for what? I've been doing this for
about 5 years now.
5 years, really strong here in the office, and
5 years as president and vice president.
Yeah. Over the years before that, I would just fill in, work retail stores, do work from the ground up.
You go pick up money, drop off money, or
learning
checks,
the business.
And I taught him from the ground up. He worked construction sites. He worked teen nights at the clubs. He would be like an undercover guard, going into places and telling me who was working, who wasn't working, who was messing around, who wasn't holding their end of the bargain, and not making our company look good.
I think the best thing is firsthand experience in whatever you're doing. If you're out there in the trenches, you're learning day by day. It's how you become a more effective leader.
100%.
And now for the vice president role, let's segue right into that. Austin, now that you're in this entrepreneurial journey with your dad, what would you say one or two of the most difficult parts are for you as an entrepreneur?
For me, it's just every day you got to be accountable, and you gotta work hard when you run a business, and you can't give up. Every day is just as important.
Get into that accountability a little bit. No one's holding you responsible now. You are the boss. So how do you get to that?
Just knowing that your employees are your most valuable asset, and that you got to keep getting work for them, and you want to grow, and just it's important to just continue to show up for the brand. Now we have a brand where we're really, really well known on Long Island. We still do a lot in New York City and stuff, but people know us now, and they know what they're getting when they talk about APB. So it's just it's exciting, but even when you want to take off, you can't, because there's always someone else out there. There's always competition. So you want to beat your competition by, like I said, using that word, being accountable and just working hard at it.
Yeah, give me one more. So accountability helps you build that brand name that you guys have built. Give me one more. What's hard for you being an entrepreneur?
What's hard? I don't know, time. There's not enough time in a day, to get everything done. But, we always seem to pull through. And, in this business, there's ups and downs. But, you want to have more good times than bad. And
It's not how many times you get knocked down; it's how many times you get back up.
Yeah.
And
Well,
the main thing
Way
is
to live by that, yeah.
just you got to fight for what you want in anything you do, whether it's selling cars or selling real estate or owning your own business. You got to fight for what you want, and hopefully you win the fight. Sometimes you lose a fight, but you got to get back in it and start swinging and roll with the punches.
we've been knocked down before, but we always get back up, and we work harder than ever.
That's right. Well, I'm sure you agree with both those difficult parts of being an entrepreneur. Give me two more of your own. Running your own business, what are two difficult parts for you?
Well, the hardest part is, accounts payable.
Accounts
People
payable,
always
love
want
it.
you to work, and then, when it comes time to get paid, that, the check's in the mail, or, they'll bounce checks to you, or they won't pay you on time.
Always chasing payroll.
You're always chasing money, and it's sad. And then people try to go after your accounts. There's a lot of competition out there. There's a lot of guys, they'll quit for a quarter more an hour. You give them work year round, and then when New Year's Eve comes, a guy will offer them an extra 20 or 30, $40, and they'll jump ship for one night to work with another company, and then you've been giving them work year round, and there's no loyalty in this business anymore. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a loyal team of guys that could be that could take on the world with us.
About how big is your team now? How many guys you got now?
We have over 800 guards on our state roster right
800.
now. We're licensed in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Florida.
Wow, it looks like a good company to bring on the show. With 4 consecutive awards is something pretty admirable. But Rick, what would you say one of your greatest failures was, and why is it still sticking with you? What did it teach you?
The greatest failure was, it wasn't my fault. One of my guards got killed in the line of duty. He was working at a nightclub in New York City called Gronica on Avenue B many years ago. And the club owners, they didn't want people to get patted down. When you're doing security, you want to be responsible for everybody that's coming into a place, and including your employees. And sometimes, they would tell me, oh, it's high-end models that come here, or celebrities come here. It's not that type of crowd. It's not a thug crowd, and it's not this and that. Well, they just passed a non-smoking ban about 14 years ago in New York City, where you can't smoke in nightclubs and restaurants and all that. So we had 3 guys working at this club, Gronica, one night, and this Asian party came in with about 12 people. And come to find out that some of these Asian guys were a member of an Asian street gang called the Ghost Shadows. We didn't know it at the time. They were all dressed nice and everything, but nobody was checked when they came in for weapons or anything, and one of the people had a knife on him. Make a long story short, they kept smoking downstairs. The security kept telling them to put out their cigarettes, go outside and smoke. They kept laughing at security. So finally, security told me I had to leave. One of my guys was asking him to leave and was escorting one of the guys upstairs. A guy came up from behind him and severed his femoral artery with a knife, cut him in his groin area, and he bled out before he could get an ambulance there or get help. They kept him alive so they could try to harvest his organs and stuff to donate, but the family didn't allow that. But that's probably one of my greatest failures. I failed to protect one of my guards. I mean, I hold that with me. It wasn't my fault. I know that, but it's I wish every day he was still with us. His name was Dana Blake. Everybody called him Shazam. He was a gentle giant. He was about 6'6", 320 pounds. Never married. But he lived over in Queens, and just a great guy. He was one of my supervisors, and one of these guys took his life. He's in prison right now. They caught the guy, but he's doing 25 years to life, and he's been in probably 15, 16 years already.
One of the main guys, when you started your company,
he was one of my main
right?
guys, and he's the one that got these accounts for us, where he was working Gronica and Ludlow Bar on the Lower East Side. Lower East Side used to be a really trendy, upscale place, and they used to have a lot of dive bars there and upscale bars, and it was just on every corner down there was 2 or 3 bars, and the people would walk from place to place and bar hop, and they'd have a good time back in the early 90s, early 2000s back then. And now there's so many places out there now, restaurants, clubs, taverns, bars. There's just so much to do in New York City and Long Island now.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just, that's why our business is profitable and it's booming right now, because we offer a specialized service to these specialized industries, whether it's a teen night, whether it's, any type of concerts, venues, catering halls, you name it. We're doing everything out there, and we're having a good time doing it. I enjoy what I do, and what you put into anything is what you're going to get out of it.
Absolutely. Well, you guys have really done a lot of great things. So, Austin, what's a situation that stuck with you, a failure type moment, and why is it sticking with you still today? What did it teach you?
I wouldn't say anything's really been a failure. It's mostly been, everything's been a lesson.
Right.
You know, like I said, there's so many ups and downs with the business. And in this business, you win some, you lose some. But, you know, like you say, you never give up. And that's the mentality we have. We're never giving up. And each day is an opportunity for us to go out and conquer the world.
A lot of like New Year's Eve is one of our biggest nights in the nightclub industry. Yeah. That and Thanksgiving Eve, when everybody goes out. And a lot of guys like to call out last minute on us, and finding good quality guys that are accountable for their actions. I wish I could write a book called The Excuse Book, because we've heard every excuse in the book. I got a runny nose. I don't have any daycare for my child.
And leaves you guys.
My car broke down.
And we got to figure it out. We got to put together the resources to figure out how we're going to handle and cover these things. So we always maintain and somehow come through and cover it. But we like to put out a good product. We don't want to just put out
I love that.
We want to keep the same guys working at the same locations and everything, so the people know who they're working with and everything, and that people get comfortable with where they're working and stuff, and try to put them close to where they live, so they don't have to travel that far.
Great.
We try to put out a good product. Uniformed security guards, we have armed security, we have bodyguards. So, we teach, we have a school over in Levittown called Long Island Training Center, BSI Security Training, where we train all our guards. We train first aid, we train CPR there, we train active shooter courses, and we train fire guard courses. Yeah. So we're in the business to protect people and property from harm.
And that's what separates you guys, obviously, winning these awards year after year. You're doing the right thing, you're taking it serious, and
you got to teach the people what the businesses want. You got to be a good listener. You can't tell them you're the best product out there. You got to show them. You got to let them see for themselves. And the greatest compliment is a customer recommending you to their friends and other people. That's the greatest compliment that I could do. We don't advertise that much. We did hire a marketing company last year, and they've been helping us market our company and get our brand out there. But when somebody calls up, hey, this guy recommended us from this business, or the Bolson Group recommended us, or Scotto Brothers, or Lessings, or something like that in the catering business. Well, I seen you guys at Fight for Long Island Charity, and you guys were donated to security for that, or one of these beer festivals, craft beer festivals, where you have a Great South Bay Brewery or Harbor Head Brewery, and they're having like Oktoberfest, and you have 10, 15 guards there. And everybody's happy. You're greeting everybody. You're saying hello, good night. You see somebody drunk, you get them a cab, put them in the cab. They call back and thank you. That's where the good thing is. And like we say in the nightclub business and the security business, you're only as good as your last shift. So you can do great the whole year long, and one little incident, or you're late for work, or you don't stop a fight quick enough, or somebody hits somebody and you don't break it up fast enough, you're bad, but you find a wallet, you return it, or somebody's pocketbook or a cell phone, you're doing good things, and you got to have ethical behavior to be a security guard. You got to be accountable for your actions. And
I'm a firm believer in that in general in life. You do something good, pay it forward, the karma will follow you
100%.
around. Yeah, but Austin, if you could choose to have a conversation and learn from any entrepreneur, dead or alive, any industry, who are you talking to and what are you talking about?
I'd say it's my favorite athlete who just got inducted to the Hall of Fame, Derek Jeter.
Let's hear why.
Congratulations to Jeter. Just the way he conducted himself, in his line of work, being a professional athlete. He was just so professional what he did, and always took the high road, said and did all the right things. And
definitely a class act on and off the field.
Yeah, and after he retired, now he's with the Miami Marlins. He's the president there, right?
Yeah.
So, CEO. He's doing some big things, and like I said, if it's someone I would just follow his footsteps, it would be him, You never see him doing anything wrong. It was always the right thing.
Absolutely. Can't argue with that choice. What about you, Rick? Who's someone that comes to mind?
Believe it or not, he's a lot younger than me, and I met his father a few times when I was growing up in Jacksonville, Florida, Tim Tebow.
Okay.
Tebow just got married earlier this month. He's been a role model ever since he played, University Christian, high school down in Florida. Not the University Christian. He played down in Jacksonville, Florida, football. Then he went to the University of Florida. He won the Heisman Trophy there, a couple national championships. Then, his pro career, now he's trying to get on with the Mets and baseball. And everything he touches, he's just a role model. I think he's done great things. And, he's a Christian man, and he spreads the word.
That's a great choice.
And, he's just a really good guy. And, everything he does. I mean, he represents himself well, and he's an entrepreneur himself. So he does a lot of good things. The sports commentary, he doesn't he doesn't trash talk anybody. He doesn't put anybody down.
Certainly,
and he leads
yeah.
by example. And anybody who's met Tim Tebow will tell you the same thing. I hope my grandsons, grow up to be like a Tim Tebow. So.
He went to go visit a lot of people in the hospitals and
And he
charities.
has a night out. He does a lot of stuff with. He's got his own charity down there, and he does a lot of good work for people. And I take my hat off to him, and I wish him well in anything he does.
Well, we'll have to make sure you guys tag him in this podcast when it comes out. Maybe he'll give it a listen, make that happen. But let's maybe answer this one together, guys. Let's look a bit into the future, 1 year and 5 years. You guys are ready. You keep graduating to the next tier, the next level in this business with 4 consecutive top Long Island award companies. Where do you see this company in 1 year? What do you want to see change in 1 year?
Well, hopefully we're going to double our business with a marketing company and with continuing to win awards and the branding and stuff. When I first started this, I set a goal for myself. I wanted to, do $1 million within the first 3 years, at least do $1 million in sales. And we succeeded in doing that, and we've done a lot more throughout the years. So, every year you want to do better than the year before. You want to move forward. You don't want to go backwards. So hopefully by next year we could hopefully double our business. And, just get good quality guards that want to be part of a good team. APB Nation, we're branding everything, and we're out there. People know we're out there. We have vehicles, we have gem cars, golf carts. We do a lot of street fairs and live at fives and stuff like that. We're in a lot of chamber of commerces throughout Long Island.
Oh, yeah.
So we do try to give back to our communities, and we try to represent, any type of charitable organization. We try to, help donate when it's possible, whatever we can, as long as it's feasible for our company and fits our business model. And, we're not really politically affiliated with anybody. So, we just want to be, have an opportunity and a chance to earn people's business and do right for people in Long Island and New York City.
Absolutely, because you guys already have your hands in almost every possible security.
We have the foundation built, and like you said, kind of want to double the business, but even more so want to grow the business, across the states. I want to go into other states. We're licensed in Jersey.
So that's the 5-year plan right there. I like that.
That's the 5-year plan to go down the East Coast and, establish a big name brand.
All the way down to Florida and back. Well, thanks so much, boys. I really appreciate you guys coming on the
Vinny.
show.
Good luck in Florida.
Good luck, buddy.
The value you guys provide today, a company that's been through, you guys, started in 1999, still here, still kicking, rebranding. There's a lot of valuable lessons for our listeners to hear. But Austin, Rick, it's time for the last word. We'll have you go first, Austin. What's one thing you want to share with the listeners today that we did not get to touch on?
Many years of friendship with you, and, you're doing your thing to never give up on anything in life. Great things will come, and there's just so much to look forward to. So,
what I'm thankful for today is, Vinny, you for being here, not left for dead. You're here very much alive.
Appreciate
and
that.
you're doing good things in life. We wish you well, everybody here at APB, everybody here in Northport, all your friends and family. We help support your book launch and everything else.
Absolutely.
And we're going to continue to, support you in anything you do in life. So,
Absolutely. I appreciate
you're a lifelong
guys.
friend. You're a friend of APB. You're a friend of the Allen family and Austin, myself. So you're always welcome at our home, our offices, and if you ever need anything, we're only a phone call away.
I appreciate that. I always make time to see you boys when I'm up here in New York visiting the family, so going back down to Florida. But this is my last stop before that trip for the winter. Austin, you mind sharing your social media for everybody listening, the website? That way everybody can go ahead, give you a follow, see what events you're at, and then eventually, I'm sure, request your
We're trying to get
services.
some likes on Facebook right now.
Yeah, so
anybody
Vinny, maybe
out
you could
there,
help us with that.
do some likes.
All right, yeah. What are the handles at, boys?
Okay, our website is apbguards.com, and our Instagram handle is APB_security, and on Facebook it's APB Security.
So everybody remember that's APB Security on there?
The name of our security training school is the Long Island Training Center, and the website for that is litrainingctr.com.
Yeah, so let's
Long Island
piggyback on that. I know the information, but Rick, for people listening, do you license them? Do you help them get armed? What do you do for these guys?
We do all aspects of security. In New York State, you have to be a licensed security guard to work security at anywhere throughout the state. So you have to take an 8-hour pre-assignment course. You have to take a 16-hour on-the-job training course. You have to be electronically fingerprinted, and you have to send up a security guard application up to Albany to be licensed. You need a $36 money order for that. And the license is good for a 2-year period.
Okay.
Within that 2 years, you'll have to take an 8-hour annual course every calendar year to keep your license in good standing with the state of New York. So we offer all that stuff. We offer armed guard classes. We offer Red Cross CPR. We have active shooter training, tactical handcuffing and OC spray, pepper spray training. We have fire guard training for a certificate program in Nassau and Suffolk County. And we got you ready for your fire guard course in New York City. And you had to go down to Metro Tech in Brooklyn to get that with a letter from your employer. So we offer all aspects of security guard training from A to Z. We help you get licensed. We even help you try to find job placement, whether it's with APB. And that's one of the main reasons I bought a security guard training school and got licensed to be a state instructor. And I'm the school director, and Austin's a state instructor. We have over 8 instructors that teach armed and unarmed training with us. We have 6 retired law enforcement officers from Nassau Police Department who taught at the Nassau County Police Academy. We have 2 federal firearms instructors that work for the Department of Corrections, and we have a couple others that work for the Federal Bureau of Prisons that are retired now, and that are firearms instructors that taught at every pretty much facility up and down the East Coast, fire guard training for the federal prison system. So we have a lot of good things and a lot of years experience. We're probably the #1 training school in New York. We also offer a 40-hour instructor development course where they could be state instructors with a security guard training program. We usually offer that every 3 months at our school. And we're probably one of the only schools that offers that class with Tom Flynn and Bob Loveridge, who wrote the security guard manual for New York State. So we have some excellent trainers with our school.
Yeah, I wanted to delve into that because we talked about the awards. We talked about all the things you provide. And remember to follow those accounts at APB Security. And remember to check out the show on Instagram and Facebook at your favorite morning podcast, and on Twitter at Podcasts by Lanci. Remember, my handles are at Vincent A. Lanci on all social media and YouTube. And my website is vincentalanci.com. Be sure to check out my book, Left for Dead, A Story of Redemption, on Amazon now. But be sure to DM me or email me. I want to hear what you think. If you really liked today's episode, please continue listening and rate What It's Really Like to Be an Entrepreneur 5 stars. I work very hard to find value-delivering stories for you on each episode. As always, I will end the show with a quote that inspired me, and know it will for you too. Dream bigger, do bigger. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you all in the next episode of What It's Really Like to Be an Entrepreneur.